Hello and welcome to my channel. Right, today I'll be making a pork pie, and this is a pork pie with egg. This is part of my challenge with, this is my challenge with Sergeant Furytoes, so have a look at his channel. And another person who's got her own channel is Tracy from Tracy Allotment Vlogs. She'll be doing the judging. So this challenge Sergeant Furytoes gave me a few weeks back, and he said for me to come up with a challenge of my choice, and I like pork pies, so I am going to make a pork pie, and Sergeant Furytoes is going to do his version of the pork pie too. And this will be judged by Tracy from Tracy's Allotment Vlog and Cooking, or Tracy's Cooking and Allotment Vlog. Yes, so in this recipe I've hard boiled, 3/4 boiled some eggs, and it'll be 4 eggs, and these boiled for 7 minutes, and then cold, running cold water in them, and they're soaking now in cold water. I've also cooked some ham, and I'll be using 150 grams of ham, Gammon ham, and I'll also be using 300 grams of pork mince. Well, I've cut a part of pork loin there, so I'll be mincing that up now. And I'm also using 300 grams of pork sausage meat, which is by here. 400 grams, so I'll be using 300 grams of that. So I'll just put the meats together now, and I'll put them in the bowl. So here goes. In the recipe, I'll be using gelatine, some shallots, parsley, lard, butter, strong white bread flour, plain flour, salt, pepper, ham, boiled ham or gammon, some minced pork meat and sausage meat, and also eggs. So I'll just crack on with this a minute now. Right, this ham I've got, I boiled last night in preparation for this. So I put it in boiling water and let it simmer then for 1 hour and 15 minutes. So I will now cut this ham up into small little pieces, and I'll add it into the large bowl now. I've chopped the ham up into small cubes, small little dice. So I put that in the large bowl. And to this now I will add 300 grams of sausage meat. So I'll just add this. I've chopped the pork, so I'm just going to add that into my bowl, and I'm going to do the parsley. Wash my hands first, because you wash your hands with everything, didn't you? I'll turn this over for my parsley. And just roughly chop the parsley. This is fresh parsley I'm using. So I'll just chop this a second. Right, chopped the parsley, so I'll add this into the mix. Now I'm going to do my onion, so I'll just crack on with that a second. I'm using 2 onions for this, the shallots then. So I'm just going to thinly slice them. Just going to crack on with the other now. Now I've chopped the onions. I'm just going to add these into the mix. And then it's going to be salt and pepper. I'm only going to add one teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of pepper. Right, I'm going to wash my hands again and dive into that. And the only way to mix this really is by hand, so I'm just going to dive in now. Mix it all in. I'll just crack on with this. Now I've mixed all the meat together with the salt, pepper, parsley and onions, or shallots. I'm going to stick it in the fridge for about an hour. But in the meantime then I'll crack on with the pastry. For the next part of the pie I'll be making some hot crust pastry. So for this I want 450 grams of plain flour. So I'll just put 450 grams in here. Put some more by here. So that's 450 grams of plain flour. To that I'm going to add 100 grams of strong flour. So it's hard, strong white flour. There's 100 grams. So to this flour I am going to add 75 grams of butter. I'm going to make these into a crumb. So I'll just crack on with that. Right, for the next part you want 200 mils of water and 100 grams of lard. You put the lard in with the water. At this stage you can add a teaspoon of salt if you want, but I use salted butter so I won't be adding extra salt to this. So I'm just going to put this on to come up to the boil. Once it comes up to the boil, I've made a well in with my flour and crumb mix, and I shall pour it in there. So I'll just bring this up to the boil first. Right. Now the lard and the water has come up, I'm going to pour it all into the flour mix. And we're going to mix it with a spoon. This has cooled down a little now. I'll mix it with my hand. Lovely. I'm going to start mixing it now with my hand. Right, I've greased the loaf tin and I've just put a strip of greaseproof paper through the middle just to make it easier then to pull out. So I've just greased the side, so I'll put that aside. So I will roll this out. Here's my pin. Make sure there's enough now to cover the centre and all around the sides. So flour as well. You don't want this to be too thin. Just roll it back. Don't worry about it falling down. You can press it up and bring it back up. And don't worry about there being holes in it because it's hot pastry. And of course you can fold it and mould it to where you want. That's the hot pastry second. I should bring up my mix. With this you want to squash them at the bottom. Too much in a minute. So you want to squash that in. Make sure it's all in. I preheated the oven on to 200. So when the pie, I put the lid on, I put it in at 200 for 30 minutes and then I'll turn it down to 180. I'll let it cool and then I'll leave it in then for further 1 hour at 180. But I'm just going to place some eggs in here. So place them in the center. You can cut the ends off to make them fit. And now for the tricky part. And place the sausage meat, well, the pork pie filling in around the sides. And then just making sure there's some on the top. Flatten all this down. And put this aside. Just going to put a little bit of egg wash around the sides. Lay that aside. And I'm going to roll the top. Peel this back. Just cut the big excess off, because you will be folding this in on itself now. Right, now you want to fold it in. Be careful you don't fold in the greaseproof paper you got to the side there. Just gonna little hole there, little hole there, and brush this with egg wash. And stick it in the oven at 200 for 30 minutes, turn it down then to 180. The pie is now out of the oven and it is looking absolutely gorgeous. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to add the gelatine as the jelly. So the pie has completely dried. So I'm now going to heat the jelly up. So it's with the packet of the gelatine, I'll leave it bloom first, and with 500 mils of boiling water, well, water then, I'll add the bloom to the water and heat it up then. So I'll just crack on with that a second. I've added 1 packet of gelatine into a small drop of water, so I'm leaving that bloom, and then I'll be adding it to 500 mils of water in the saucepan, and I'll bring it up to the boil with the saucepan. So I'll just crack on with that a second. I've measured out the water in the saucepan, it's 500 mils, and I'll just let the jelly bloom. For this, I'm just going to make a couple of holes to pour the jelly through, and of course it'll vent out. Sorry about the shadows, but it's my lights. So I'm just gently pouring the jelly in the pie. And I've got it on a baking tray. I think that's full. Yep, that's full. So I shall stick that in the fridge now for the next 2 hours. Right, it's so far so good with the pie. I'm now gonna see if I can price it out of the dish using the Brilliant. Let's see if I can lift it up again. Take off the paper. Amazing. Right, I'm going to slice it open now. Right, let's slice it open, see what it's like. Oh wow. Yep, that's my pie. So if I just show you the insides, that's my pie. I'll just cut myself a slice now. Just a second. I'm just gonna add a little bit of English mustard there, and I'm going to enjoy this pie. Right, this is again, as I said, a part of my challenge with sgtfurytoes, and we'll see what the judge thinks now, which is Tracy. I hope you like this recipe. I certainly do like making this pie. And again, if you do like it, press like, and if you're new to the channel, press please consider subscribing. And for all those who's returning, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. And if you want to see more, please, I will carry on making more. But until I'm on to your next now. Thank you very much all for watching. I'm going to enjoy my pie.